Good evening, and welcome to this Remembering Mr. Sensei, Skipper Ingham. I'm joined by everyone knows him as Roots, Gladwin Phillips. Throughout the martial arts fraternity in Bermuda, it's a sad time. It's a sad time because someone who has put their life through a sport and a generation of people who have he's been able to touch. He has now left us, and tonight we're going to spend some time just talking about you and his relationship. You getting started. What was Sensei to you personally?
Earl, you can't imagine how deeply hurt I am, saddened by the passing of what I'm going to call one of the greatest men that I had the privilege of knowing, Osensei Skipper Ingham. He meant a lot to me. In telling my story of what he meant to me, it means a lot to me. I grew up in Middletown. Didn't have the means to train, but Sensei Skipper Ingham, let's go back a little bit. So I'm walking down Court Street one day, and a lot of you might know that on the corner of, is it Reed and let's say Court Street, there was a dojo Sensei had, dojo's karate school. It was a wooden building. Myself and Raymond Hassel, we peased up the steps, and because we heard a lot of noise coming from up top. And so I'm thinking that nobody heard me, but this loud voice, "Who's out there?" And it was Osensei Skipper Ingham singing up to us guys, and we're looking like, who's he talking to? Because we didn't make any noise. So we went inside, and he's like, "Come inside, sit down. You guys want to work out?" So I'm like, "Work out? You don't have any money for that."
Right.
Mama couldn't afford that back in the day. But a generous man, as he was, said, "Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the money. Ask your parents, can you train? When you get something going, then you come back, right? Mm-hmm. And if she can afford to pay after that, then fine." But how generous was a person to do that?
To get you started.
To get me started. But look at me.
Yeah.
Look at the privileges and everything that I have accomplished. Mm-hmm. You mark that down to great people and the generosity of people of helping you to become who you are. Mm-hmm. Just my story. Right. That's all it is. Right. And but I mean, I went on to do some great things with Osensei Skipper. Right. I've done a lot of traveling and stuff like that, and we had the privilege of doing a lot of things. Not taking away anything from anybody else, right? But he would always remain and has been in my heart from 17 years old. Mm. So you want me to say my age?
No, we don't need. Okay. Well, I know it.
You know my age? Well, no, I'm not afraid of who I am.
Right.
I'm 63 years old.
Right.
So from 17 to 63, I've had the privilege of knowing, like I said, one of the greatest men on earth. Mm-hmm. Sensei meant a lot to me. He still does. He's in my heart. And in trying to talk about it, I'm going to hold back my tears. I'm going to do the best I can.
You do the best you can. But the emotion of explaining what someone means to you, it's nothing wrong with expressing
Right.
through tears,
Right.
because it hurts when
Right.
we lose someone that we're not going to be able to have that conversation with again.
Right.
So all we have is the memories.
Right.
So don't ever feel ashamed that you know what I mean?
I do. So I work in the hospitality industry.
Yes.
And the other day I'm serving some drinks, and because I have moments.
Yes.
And when I have my moments, I have to go outside.
Yes.
which I
Excuse
did.
yourself.
I
Yes.
went into the alleyway.
Uh-huh.
I had my tours for about 10 minutes. When I came back, people can see on my face that
Yes.
I had that moment. They said, "You're okay.
Right.
You're okay. You're
We got
okay
you.
now?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm fine."
We got you.
And I go like this, I shake it out, and off I go about
Sure.
my business and try
Sure.
to do what I got to do.
Sure. I mean, throughout the years, the martial arts fraternity has often come together. We know that there's always the different facets of the martial arts family, but I still call you a family because ultimately you're all trying to reach the same goal, and that is to make sure that the young people that are coming through your programs
Right.
get the best that they can get out of it, even if they don't fulfill the championships and all of that. It's giving them the best. That's what Sensei Skipper was about, making sure that his students understood that when you finish learning your trade here, you now have to give back to someone else.
Absolutely, and that's what I do. So I'm not going to be here tonight to try to promote anything other than talking about what Sensei has done for me. But I will tell you this. Sensei used to often say, you will have hundreds of students, but you will have a handful of students that will stay with you for life. I'm one of those students.
Right.
I'll tell you why. Because as far as I'm concerned, Goju is my way.
Right.
That's what Sensei Skipper has taught me, right? I've had the opportunity to probably venture out to do something else, but no. Sensei says, your art will take a lifetime to learn, and I'm still learning up to today. So it's not about trying to do this and go somewhere else, etc., etc. This is where I am through Sensei Skipper, and this is where I will stay after I'm gone. This is just the way it is.
Right.
And it's always taught you to be respectful, to always love one another, to respect yourself, and that's what I do. I just want to quickly touch on something that sometimes people will not understand. Okay, so I have my immediate family.
Yes.
I have my brothers, I have my sisters, and I have my aunties, and family members like that. But I have a karate family that you cannot deny.
Right.
They will always be there for you. They will look after you. They will look out for you. Sensei calls them dojo brothers and dojo sisters. People that you either look up to,
Right,
or they look up to you, right? So either way. And that particular family consists of some very important people in no particular order. Sensei Christina is always in my heart. She's also someone that's played a very important part in my life and my being of where I am today. Sensei Skipper number one, Sensei Skipper, Sensei Christina number two, because those two, right, through the traveling of the martial arts and the karate way have taught me some very, very valuable lessons that I would never forget. Okay, and my dojo brothers and sisters consist of their family, which is Senji Ingham, Shomeko Ingham, and Ricky.
right.
My heart is touched for those family members at this particular time. I cannot express how I feel about that without cutting this conversation short. But I look up to people like that, and I appreciate people like that being in my life now. There's other karate brothers and sisters, but we're not here to talk about them right now. We're here to talk about my instructor, my mentor, someone that I dearly look up to, someone that I cared about, someone that I love. That's what we're here to talk about.
So let me ask you, because there's always someone outside your immediate family that creates another family for you. They always have some message that even when you're by yourself, you think about what this person has said to you.
Right.
That kind of keeps you going, and something that you will never forget. Are you able to share what Sensei?
I've got that. Look, in life, you don't have to agree with everything that is said, done to you.
Mm-hmm.
What we have to do, we have to respect each other's wishes and ways,
Mm-hmm.
and try to find a way to move forward with that. I.e., let's just say that someone doesn't have the right opinion of someone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that does not mean that's not my view. My view, because you don't have an opinion that meets someone else's standard, does not reflect on me.
Mm-hmm.
But this is what Sensei used to say about me. He used to say, "Roots, I love you, you know." I used to say, "Sensei, I love everybody. I love everybody." And then he would say, I say, "Well, why you say that, Sensei?" He says, "You know why? Because you love everybody. That's why I love you." But guess what? If you love everybody,
Mm-hmm.
that means you love me.
Yes.
So Sensei, I will always love you. And that has stuck with me for many, 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 many years.
Right.
You have to feel something in your heart, right? When you're passionate about someone that you dearly care about,
Mm-hmm.
that yes, I'm going to say that he is family.
Yes.
Although he's not immediate, he is family.
Yeah.
Always will be.
Mm-hmm.
So when you find someone in your life that touches your heart like that, it's a very passionate thing to him. That sticks out in my mind. Sensei used to always say that. "I love you, you know." And I say, "I love you too, Sensei." He says, "But I love you because you love everybody."
Right.
You know?
And it's unique because you would know back when you were coming up, it was strange for a guy to say he loved something other than a woman.
Yeah.
You know, so to say that had to mean a lot to a lot of people because that wasn't a norm for him.
You know when we came up, for another guy to tell another guy, "Hey man, I love you, man." Look, different type of love.
Yes.
Come on, let's not twist it up a little bit.
Right.
But back in the day, you say to a guy say to a guy, "Hey, I love you." You look at him, you say, "What? What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have people that you really deeply care about,
and you want to express that.
And I do that.
Yeah.
I got some mates that I care about. There's some good guys.
Right.
You know, and Sensei was one of those guys that it didn't make a difference where we were.
Right. Right.
We're walking down the street one day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're meeting somebody, and Sensei keeps walking. I stop, and we're talking, right? Talking to someone, you know, and then I catch up, and he says, I said, "Sensei, what's wrong?" He says, "That's why I love you." So we sit down, we have some breakfast,
right?
You know, and so his eggs are not to his liking. Sensei used to like some sunny side eggs, right? Okay. So if you didn't have that egg right at the restaurant we were eating at, right, he would say, "I don't want that." So I would say, "But Sensei, it's okay. It looks pretty good." He says, "Well, you eat it." I say, "Sensei, I'm not going to eat that." He says, "Well, wait up, change it, because he's not going to eat it." He's not going to eat it. But right. So you could bring me something else. But that's how strong and how right to the point he was. Mm-hmm. Very, very strong man. If he didn't like it, then he don't have to like it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's. I mean, I remember one of the first times I met him. He came into this room and there was a different aura about him, and everybody kind of just stopped what they were doing because here was this, as the person on the outside would say, here's this grandmaster coming into this arena of people getting ready to go to combat sort of thing. But here is the grandmaster walking in, and it was just that awe. And I'm standing around. I had nothing to do with it, but just. Wow.
Right.
He commanded the place.
Look, we often say that we are not recognized recognized enough by our own people.
Yes.
Our own people, i.e. our
Bermudians, yes.
But Sensei was well recognized in Bermuda. Everybody knew who he was.
Yes.
Right. Walking down the street, Sensei, morning, Sensei. Everybody knew that. Why? But guess what? Guess what happened when we used to travel?
Same thing.
No. More than that.
Oh yeah.
People will run over. Sensei, how you doing? So nice to see you. Blah, 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 you know. As far as I'm concerned, yes, we do. We are recognized here. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm talking about me now.
Right.
Right. I thought he was more recognized overseas.
Outside of Bermuda. Well, you know, it's strange. It's not strange you say that, because I see it happening all the time. We Bermudians are more, I would say, celebrated off island than they are on island. I think because of our quote unquote laid back demeanor, we tend to say, "Oh, that's just Skipper." That's just roots. But for what you guys have accomplished throughout your lives in the sport, others look at that and try to emulate it, and so they're always looking up to what you have done, what you've accomplished, what, you know, even when you became a world champion. What was one of the first things Skipper said to you after that?
Okay. I'm going to back up just a little bit on the world championship.
Sure.
We took a team down to Buenos Aires, Argentina, 1994, led by Sensei, Osensei Skipper Ingham and Christina Ingham. Took us all down there. I'll leave the names out, but it was a good bit of us that made that trip, right? And let me tell you, Sensei asked me a simple question. He says, we're down in Argentina. He says, what are you here for? I said, Sensei, I'm on the team. I'm one of the team members. I'm here to represent the dojo and Bermuda. Yeah, but what are you here for? Do you know he asked me a couple of times, what am I here for? Until I said, Sensei, I'm here to win. Obviously, I was doing to win, but it wasn't. He
wanted to hear you say it.
He wanted me to say that.
Right.
So I said, Sensei, I'm here to win. I'm here to win something. I don't know what I'm going to win. He says, well, that's what you're here for. So we proceeded to do our thing, et cetera, And I'll never forget this part, right? I was about 3 fights in. 3 fights, another fight to go. And this Chinese-looking guy came up, and I'm fighting him next. So Sensei, he looks at me. He said, what's wrong? I said, oh, nothing, Sensei. He said, yes, it is. He says, see that guy? He's a man like you. I want you to go over there, and I want you to kick his butt.
Yes.
I said, okay, Sensei, right? So I'm saying to myself, you know, when you look at like an Oriental, sometimes you look at someone, it's
where the forms are from.
This guy's going to kick my butt.
Yes.
He erased that out of my mind.
Just by addressing
that. And sure enough, right over there, bang, 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 fight's over.
Right.
You know, and I think one of his accomplishments, he talked about it often, was the fact that we took a team down there.
Yes.
And I was successful. I'm not. Look, I don't ask for pats on the back, etc. But that praise that was given to Osensei Skipper, because he is the one that trained me. He is the one that made sure I was capable, as we all were on that team, of going to Argentina and bringing back a gold medal. And that's where the praise is, with me.
So let me ask you, because the funny side of you are sneaking up to see what's going on to where you are now with all that you've accomplished and helping out others and the wisdom and the words from Osensei Skipper. Did you think it was going to be like this?
As martial arts?
Yes, martial arts.
Well, look, no. Let me see, I always have to back up. Think about what I'm saying. I want to be careful in putting into words my feelings, right? Who knows where I would have been if I had not walked up those steps. Teased up, not thinking that because I'm saying, we have a look. Not thinking that he's going to say, come in.
Right.
And my first couple of lessons was free. Who knew that was going to happen? But look at all my accomplishments through Sensei Skipper. Look at all of them. I contribute a lot that's happened in my life to the people that is most dear to me. One of those persons is Osensei Skipper Ingham. Because I'm not saying Middletown wasn't a good place to grow up.
Right.
Middletown was a great place to grow up back in the day, and even probably to today.
Right.
But who knows where I would have been had I not gone up those steps.
Right.
And Sensei would have not called me in and said to me, young man, you can train for free until you can sort out the finances. Who knows what I would have been. I contribute a lot of my success to Osensei.
Now, the other thing is that you probably are not the only one that he would have done that to, only because he knew if you give a young man something constructive to do,
Absolutely.
you get the best out of them. But if you leave them, then they tend to go by the other side. So I mean, a lot of people looked at martial arts as a way to say, you know what, I ain't getting beat up no more. So I just want to learn how to do this, do that, and then I ain't coming back no more because I know how to defend myself. But when you start talking about getting into sport, understanding and all of that, when did you really, really take a liking to the sport itself?
So back in the day, back in the day, I'm going to say I think I was probably training too hard. I didn't think I would. But back in the day, we had the Stepping Dam, the Feeding Dam, the Door. Osensei Skipper had many students back then. We used to train mornings, lunch times, afternoon, and evening.
Wow.
Right? So what I used to do, I used to train mornings, lunch times. I think it was either a 2 o'clock class because of the shifts with the ships that way.
Right.
Then there was like a 6 o'clock class. I was working way back at Disco 40 at the time, so I wasn't making till 9 o'clock. So off days, I had all the time in the world to train, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, right? I'm training, and is this something that I really, really want to do? So Sensei Skipper came to me one day, and he says, I think you need to take a break. I said, Sensei, are you serious? He said, yeah. He says, you're one of my top students. But as far as I'm concerned, it's too much. It's a little too much now. Because look, I get there in the morning, so I'm sparring probably with the guys off the vet, standing there.
Right.
And then later I'm sparring with the guys off the dork. Then in the afternoon, the V-Dam guys. And then like my 6 o'clock class or the 6 o'clock class that he would have, I'm sparring with the locals like that. And to him, I think it was a very valuable lesson that I learned. I took 2 weeks off. I took 2 weeks. I took a 2-week break. I said, you know what? Let me relax for a minute to see if this is really what I want to do, because all I want to do is fight. And or spar. Right. And I took 2 weeks off, and I came back. And when I came back, I was a totally different person when I came back. I was much calmer because not to say that I had the hot air, but I just want to scrap it. I just want to say, let's go, you know? And so when I came back, I was a more relaxed person and really didn't like the kata part of it. Right? Sensei Skipper taught me that if you're going to be a martial artist, you have to be a well-rounded karate person. Right? I remember one time, there was a tournament over at BAA, and I said, Sensei, I'm entering in Kumite and fighting. He says, well, you're not fighting this, you're not going to enter this tournament. I said, let me tell you one thing about respect. Whatever Sensei said,
it was done.
It was done.
Yes.
If he said you wasn't fighting, then I wasn't fighting. If he says, sit down and sit over there, well, that's what I'm doing, because that's the respect that we have for Osensei Skipper. But he never, ever stirred us wrong. It was always for the well-being of us. He knew what he was doing to make us a better person. Now, getting back to that tournament, he says, no, you're not fighting in that tournament. Whenever I talk to him, I never talk with disrespect. I always started with, Sensei, with all due respect. That's what I would say.
Yes, yes.
Sensei, with all due respect, can I ask you why I'm not fighting in that tournament? He says, because you're not practicing your kata properly. And the only way you can enter that tournament is that you have to do kata. I say, Sensei, can I then put down for kata and enter in the kata too? He says, well, that would be the only way you'll be entering that tournament. So of course now, because I respected Sensei and always did and always will, I put down for kata. I go over to the tournament. I don't win the kata.
Right.
He sees me putting my horn in it.
Yes.
But I made him proud by winning the Komite side.
Oh, okay.
Remember with the old Chinese restaurant?
Yes,
with
yes.
the corner of Parliament and Regent. Somewhere
Church.
in there.
Parliament and Church. Yes, Parliament and Church.
Somewhere over there.
Or Rosebank was on the other corner.
On the other
Yes,
corner.
yes, yes.
So it's a whole lot of us. We all walking down with our gears over there to this tournament, past the Chinese restaurant. They're outside and they're eating their little break. And they say, oh, martial artists. He says, look, we'll be back.
Right.
So we go down, and when we come back, we got this 4-foot trophy because I won the Komite side of it.
Okay.
Like, oh yes. But that story was told simply because of the respect that we had for Sensei, Osensei Skipper, is because whatever he said, we had to do.
Right. Right.
So now he's made me a better kata person, right?
Right.
Because I really did like that part of it. But he has made me a better kata person through the ability for him to see through us,
Right.
what he wanted for us, what he wanted us to do.
So let me ask you, when did he advise you when it was time to become a teacher of the sport?
Right.
Because as you already indicated, all you really wanted to do was spar. You wanted to get in.
Yeah.
So the teaching somebody else that, when did he sit you down and say, now it's time?
Right. It was for all of us actually, because at any given time, Sensei Skipper would say, okay guys, Sensei Kent's taking the class tonight. Or he would come up and say, Sensei Senji will be teaching the class tonight. Or Sensei Christina would have it. Or he would say, and I was privileged there, Sensei Roots will be taking the class tonight. I'm like, yeah, let's do this, And he always sat on the side, and he always looked, and he would not say anything during the class. But when the class was over, he would say to any one of us at the time, he would come over. Well, this is what I think. I think that you're not speaking up enough. He would say something like, okay, although you're teaching, you still have to say something.
Yeah.
Don't just work out yourself. I saw a couple of the students not standing right. Well, talk up. And he would always give me that little bit of advice to talk up, to be more assertive, to be respectful, to always treat people differently.
Yes.
I'll tell you why. No two people are the same.
So true.
Okay, so I might be, leave me out. Student A might be fast. Student B might be just a little slower. Take a little more time, continue to tell him, continue to teach him, to make sure that he comes up to the standard of the rest of the students.
Right. Yeah.
And so for me, teaching right now, it's through Osensei Skipper. But everything is done with respect. So he says, I came to him one day and I said, Sensei used to always say, students are like your children. Your home. This is your home, your dojo. This is where you are, your home.
Right.
After a while, you grow up and you go find your own home.
Yes.
Right? That's what he used to say. You go and you find your own home. Open up your own school. He encouraged people to do their own thing if that's what they want. Right? So for me, I found somewhere which I've been for the last 20, 30 odd years to train. But before I did that, Like I said, I always have respect. Sensei, with all due respect, I have found some word where I would like to teach. Where is it? I say where it is. He says, okay, I respect that. But always know that this is still your home.
Yes.
And I respected that. And the ability for me to teach others, I'm teaching Osensei's way.
Right.
I'm not teaching my way. I didn't know anything about this.
Right.
He has given me all of this. He's the one that made it possible for me to do any other thing I want with karate and in my personal life.
Sure.
Because the strengthness and the way of the karate that he has taught me, I've took that into my personal life.
Right.
No, I'm not arrogant, but this is what people say sometimes. Oh, look at this guy, because he does karate, he's arrogant. No, it's not. I'm respectful. I walk with respect because I saw Osensei Skipper walk with respect.
Right.
So I walk with respect. No arrogance.
Right.
It's just respectfulness.
That's
what I teach.
What does Bermuda lose with the loss of Osensei Skipper Ingham?
Oh, we could try to sum that up, but we can't. We have lost one of the pioneer, most respectful, most disciplined. I mean, I could pull the dictionary up and just keep going over all the words to say what he has meant to a lot of people here in Bermuda, right? Sensei has taught us everything. We have oh man, we have lost greatness. When you lose someone like that, and you always say to yourself, are we going to get somebody like that? Are we going to get anything like that? I don't know about that. I don't want to put anybody down by saying, we would never see anything like that again. We would never see a person like that again.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
But I know what I have lost. I have lost
a big part.
Yeah. I've lost a great friend. Sensei was a friend of mine as well.
Right. When you look at, we often reflect when someone's no longer with us. We often reflect and we often say, I wish I'd have had one more moment just to say something, just to ask a question, or just to make a comment, or just to something.
Right.
If you had that moment, what would that be?
Wow. Oh man. Life is hard, man. And you never get back the loved ones. In your heart and in your spirit, that person would never die. So in losing a great man like that, he just, I've lost a great person. We have all, his family, his friends. If I had something to say to him, I would say, Sensei, as we often said to each other, I love you. And I often told him that. And he told me that too.
Right.
You see old Sensei there. Everybody looked at him and they say, oh, look at this tough guy. This guy's so hard, man. Yeah, but yeah, he had that spot.
What they call it tough love.
Tough love.
Tough love.
He loved his family. He loved Sensei Christina of 52 years of togetherness. He loved Senji. He loved Ricky. He loved Shomeko. That particular love is that particular family love. And I know he loved me, and I loved him too.
Yeah.
So Sensei, I love you, man. Yeah, I love you, man.
No better way to end it. But
yeah, I love you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome.